Abbey. I'll be your presenter today. Today we're going to look at this presentation, which is the Carbon Footprint Investigators. It's going to talk about your carbon footprint and its effect. Okay, so what is a carbon footprint? Short and simple, your carbon footprint is your deleterious impact on the Earth. It's everything that you are taking out of the planet. It's, your negative effect, basically. Specifically, it tends to refer to greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, etc. All of your carbon emissions. So carbon, obviously, is the base level of an organic compound, so any organic materials that you're using. So any sort of fossil fuels, any sort of food even, anything organic, biotic that you are using, you are taking it out of the system for your use, and that, you got to try and get it back. So why do we care? Because greenhouse gases are bad. They tend to mess up the atmosphere, causes global warming. That's not cool. This little graphic here details, sort of the sun, Pacific rays down to the Earth, and then that coming up into the atmosphere is heat, but then the carbon emissions will trap that heat in the Earth. And part of that is a good thing. That's, how life is sustainable on Earth. We have this atmosphere that keeps it heat, so we can be warm and things can grow. However, when it gets too thick from all the carbon emissions, it gets hot. So, burning fossil fuels, agriculture, land clearing, increase the amount of greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere, which ultimately is bad. Texas A&M's personal carbon footprint. Most of our energy, or all of our energy actually comes from the central utility plant, which takes up 23 million square feet of space and 19 million square feet of, that is air conditioned. No, it air conditions 19 million square feet over 5,000 acres of land. The central utility plant, in terms of utility plants, it's actually pretty efficient. They, recycle heat and water and try to cut down their emissions. So they're doing a pretty good job, but it's still using fossil fuels to sustain our electricity and stuff like that. So, renewable resources will be a better option. So Texas A&M's carbon footprint mostly comes from the central utility plant. Combined heat and power, yeah, this is what I was talking about with it reducing its emissions. So it improves the utility plant's efficiency, reliability, and emissions, provides up to 70% of campus water heating services and 35% of cooling requirements. So yeah, they have this cool scientific system that uses big science words to make big electricity.
Yeah, the one thing that I'll mention about this as well is that because we use gas turbine engines to create our power, we pull from natural gas, which is already a more, it's a way to limit our carbon footprint already. We're not burning coal here on campus. And we use those turbines and we actually collect the steam that comes off of those turbines, and we use that actually to heat our domestic water lines that go out from the central utility plant to the different buildings. So your hot water for your shower and your sink and that sort of thing are actually heated and cooled by literally the byproduct of us producing energy. So that's how we're able to increase our efficiency even as we've added buildings across campus because of the ability for us to collect that steam that comes off those engines as well.
That's the scientific explanation I was looking for.
There you go. I got you.
So, greenhouse gases. Bad. Campus size versus greenhouse gas emissions. So as campus square footage has increased, campus GHG emissions have decreased historically, so that's good. That's what we like to see. Emissions are going down over time. And our population is going up, so on a normal campus where population might have stagnated, we would still like to see that going down, but we've managed to keep it going down while also increasing our population, because generally more humans means more waste. But that hasn't been the case for us, so that's really good. So Texas A&M is really doing some good stuff in regards to sustainability with our power. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some case studies of students, you know, like how you can live more sustainably versus less sustainably while being a student living on campus, supposedly, because traditionally we give these presentations in the halls. So, you know, we'll be talking to students in the halls. So, case one will be the non-eco-conscious student who wastes plastic and uses the dryers for all their clothes. They don't have a drying rack. They don't bother to try to air dry anything. They plug all their chargers into the wall instead of, you know, a power switch that you can turn off. They don't recycle. They use plastic shopping bags, paper towels, and they take long, luxurious hot showers. Yeah, so that's, you know, they're not thinking, they're just doing, you know. However, if you are a thinker, if you got a big brain, you'll live like the eco-conscious student who's going to use a drying rack and a surge protector for their power cords. Yeah, so not only is that a power strip, but it's also got a switch and a surge protector so that bad stuff doesn't happen to your electronics and fry them. They use refillable water bottles so that they don't go carrying around these little plastic disposable water bottles that end up on the ground and in landfills and the ocean. And they have their own special set-aside container for recycling. Because actually, if you live in a dorm, like I myself do, you usually end up having more recycling than trash if you separate it. Like, even like my apartment back home, I started getting my mom to recycle because we just moved out of an area that's like so rural that they won't bring recycling out there to like the city. So, you know, we actually, you know, we'll throw out like maybe 2 bags of garbage a week, but like recycling, we're having to take it out like every day. Like having to recycle just that much more. It's a lot. It's shocking how different it is when you start doing that. So, recycle in your dorms because there's recycling bins. There's adequate facilities for that. Rechargeable batteries. Obviously, you know, you're wasting less physical batteries by recharging the same ones. Reusable shopping bags, because you can use them over and over again, and you know, I'm pretty sure all stores allow you to bring bags in to put your chargers in. And some stores even don't give plastic bags anymore. So it's just always smart to have your own bags. And they use cleaning cloths that you can wash instead of paper towels, because obviously this is a more eco-friendly option. You know, paper towels are single-use. These are not single-use. You can wash them with your clothes. And then also a shower timer. See, this was an example of a shower timer. It's waterproof, so you can take it in there with you. It's just a little hourglass, so it's not wasting any energy. Still keeping time, so you just flip it over when you get in there and scrub. Yeah, so really tight, cool things that you can do in your dorm to make it more sustainable. Okay, this is the quiz section. Which of the following is the best option? Would anyone like to guess? No, it's LED.
You're good.
It's a trick question. Yeah, the LEDs actually last like 70% longer than CFLs now, and yeah, actually recently the incandescents have been banned in I think the EU. So I think they said that they were going to save like, you know, just tons and tons of emissions by getting rid of those. And like just the impact that has. Wow. So yeah, LEDs are your best choice. Purchase those. Fact or myth? Leaving the fan on is going to keep your room nice and cool when you come back. Anyone? Okay, I'm going to pick on you.
Well, it seems counterintuitive to say that it wouldn't keep the room colder, but I'm going to assume that it doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't keep the room colder because all a fan does is spin. It's not pushing cold air into a room. It's just spinning the same air around. So you feel cooler because there's breeze, but you know, it's not actually doing anything to lower the temperature. So if you turn it off when you leave the room, you're saving electricity, and you can just turn it back on when you come in, the air will start circulating again, and you'll be cool. You're saving yourself like maybe 5 seconds of extra skin cooling, you know, by leaving it on. That's stupid. So, next. It's harmless to leave chargers plugged in when not using them. You, answer it.
I know that you're not supposed to leave them plugged in.
Yes, you're not. because vampire energy is a thing. That's energy that gets sucked out of the wall into your charger even when it's not in use. So like your little charger here doesn't really have an on-off switch that tells the wall to stop feeding it. So it just keeps sucking out and then not going anywhere. And that's just energy that's being used, and it'll show itself in your power bill if you don't think about it. So yeah, this is why like in the dorms you'd like to have a power strip that you can plug everything into so that you can turn it off, and then it won't suck out that vampire energy to each one of those appliances that you have plugged into your strip. So yeah, things like phone chargers, laptop chargers tend to do that a lot. Obviously there's some things like refrigerators that you have to keep plugged in 24/7, but pretty much everything else you don't have to. So unplug stuff when you're not using it. That's the good thing. Fact or myth, turning off your computer saves more energy than using sleep mode.
It does.
Okay, so this one's always kind of a toss-up. Yes, it does is the right answer, but like it kind of just depends on your computer. So it kind of just depends. So, you know, kind of, we should take this slide out.
It's okay.
But it's okay.
It still pulls, so if your computer is on a sleep function, it's still pulling some energy for that program to run. And that's the reason why it's better for you to turn your computer off, so that there's no energy even running a program in the background, rather than it being...
But like the startup process on a computer sometimes takes
It
so
can pull
much
more.
energy
Yes.
that it overpowers
Sure.
the sleep mode, any energy that would be sucked out during sleep mode. So it kind of just depends on if your computer takes that much to start up, or if it's just a normal laptop that you can open and turn on and it takes a short amount of time. You know, it just depends. But, you know. So I think the right answer to this is that sleep mode will save more energy in the long run, because usually startup takes like some horsepower. Additional dorm tips for living in a dorm. Little college pinterest, using a dryer that someone just finished using can save some heat, you know, because it'll still be hot in there, so that it doesn't have to warm itself back up to get up to the temperature. So, you know, if you see somebody pulling their stuff out, just wait for them to get done. Keep yours in. Turn off all the lights and fans when you leave the room. There's no reason for you to keep them running if no one's using it. Turn off the water while you're brushing your teeth. That'll save several gallons of water. People forget to do that. But, you know, if you're brushing your teeth for 2 minutes, like you're supposed to, you gotta turn it off, because that's water, bro. Take shorter showers. You know who you are. Recycle in the green worms by the Commons, Lot 32, the Gardens, or White Creek. Recycle. These are locations where you can recycle a lot of stuff, like whole bags of recycling. Yeah. And join the EcoReps. So when you present this in the hall, it'll be more impactful, because you'll already done that. Yeah. So here's our fun little activity that goes with the presentation. So like at this point we'd be like, all right, everybody get out your phones and like do the activity, and like if someone wants to come to the front and do it. So we always like invite someone up to like show what's going on, because it's better when you're walking through it, you know. So I'm just gonna do it for the sake of making it speedy. Take the first step. Enter an email. I swear.
Should put Justin Varghese' email in there.
You're right.
No, we can't do it, because
Twice.
then I think it'll probably send them some information.
It will. Here you go, buddy.
That's hilarious.
Okay, how often do you eat animal-based products? Well, for me, that's very often. I lift weights. So, and then you can add details to improve accuracy. So this is going to say stuff like red meat, pork, poultry, fish, shellfish, eggs, cheese, dairy. So you can, you know, make it more and more specific, as specific as you want to go. I'm just going to go with the baseline one because I don't really know. Which type of housing best describes your home? So I live in a dorm, so that's going to have to be multi-story apartment, maybe. My house is made of brick. My dorm. 2 people live in my dorm. My dorm is small, so I'm going to assume 5 meters squared? No, hold on. Let's make it. Let's go with that. That's probably not right. But How efficient is my home? Well, yes, we do have electricity, so there's that. I'll just go with average for the sake of. What percentage of your home's electricity comes from renewable resources? As you can see, this gets really in depth, and this is mostly for like, you know, single adults or maybe adults with kids and like people who like pay their power bill directly, not students who just kind of play a flat fee and just do it, you know, somebody else handles that. So, you know.
Could we encourage them to do it based on like what their family home is?
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, you can do it for your dorm, but it's really more beneficial to do it for like your family, like where your parents live, because, you know, obviously they have a say in what goes on with all that, and like a sad college student with no money who doesn't pay their own bills doesn't. So, yeah, so do it for your family home if you want. Compared to your neighbors, how much trash do you generate? Much less. My neighbors are gross. I'm kidding. Well, actually, no, my apartment, we had these neighbors, they ordered a box from Amazon that they never brought in. They stayed outside their apartment for like 3 months. And then they moved out. And they left the Amazon box there. So my mom stole it. She opened it. And you know what was in there? Cat litter. There was cat litter in there. You opened and took that in? How much do I travel by car a week? Yeah, no less than that. 34 miles a gallon? Yeah, tight. I don't have a motorcycle, so. You know what? As you can see, there are a lot of questions. I did the thing. Okay. What is the right light here? Yeah, I got miles. Wow. Let's go with like 20. That's all. Yeah, I gotta go see my grandma. I went to Korea this summer. Flex. So my personal Earth overshoot day is the 20th of April, according to the information I gave you. So if everyone lived like me, we need 3.5 Earths per year. Yeah. So.
And that Earth overshoot day means that basically, if we kind of kept that same method of using different aspects, we could only live on this planet until the 20th of April if everybody on Earth lived like you. So if that helps put that into a different perspective, we wouldn't even make it through 4 months of the year, and our Earth would be no longer capable of providing life for us anymore. Or if we, spread it out over the traditional 365 days per year, we would need 3.3 Earths to sustain all of the consumption that we're seeing.
Does this have a year, or is this the 20th of April for the next?
It's the 20th of April if you started on January the 1st.
Thank you, that's
So
okay.
we'd only last through 420.
Almost the end of 4 months. Yep.
Anyways, so yeah, you can see more details if you want, but mostly just, okay, here. So, it's a lot of information here. So yeah, this is how much carbon I'm wasting per year, this 7.1 figure right here. Oh yeah, this is a percentage. So I guess ideally you'd want this to be 0. But
Or as close to it as possible.
yeah. So you can see where it's broken down by category. So like obviously I'm wasting a lot of food. That's probably going to come from me eating meat. If I was a vegan, that would be really low. But eating meat takes a lot of water, like for agriculture production. So, and especially if you know that you eat only locally sourced food. If you were a locally sourced only vegan, like that would be like god tier. But like, I shop at Walmart, so food's hot. Mobility, I don't walk everywhere. I drive. I get on planes. Yeah, stuff like that. So just kind of puts things into perspective. It's kind of heavy, It's supposed to scare you. Solutions. Living in cities, so smart urban planning can help prevent it. This is where you can kind of talk about what can you do to help? fix your carbon footprint. Because clearly it's high if I'm going to destroy the earth 3.5 times over the course of the year, you know? So, then you can retake the quiz, but like donate the money. But we don't do that during our presentation. So. Is that it? Must be. Yeah. No, wait. Yeah. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Any questions?
And there is, oh, sorry. There's a packet that goes with this one, just like there is with the other ones too.
There are, and we have some notes for you guys as well. Some things to kind of keep in mind as you're going through the presentation, so that way you're not just reading off the slides. We want it to be more dialogue oriented, so that way you're interacting with the students that are in that space rather than just kind of talking at them. We also do, for this particular program, have some different things that we can give away as well. So Abbey, can you talk about just a couple of those real quick?
Yes, so actually during the true-false section, if I had been doing this in a hall, I would have been like, okay, so like true, false, and then whoever answers could like pick a prize out of the prize pool that we bring. So like, typically you want to have more than like 4 people there because that's all the prizes we bring. So this here is a fair trade rug that we got, so that's a really nice prize.
Yep, it's a chimney rug, so it's made from scraps from textile factories in India that they've used to sew together. So it's actually using all of the cast-off material to create something that then can be utilized as a rug for someone. So keep that in mind as you're sharing that.
Cute. This is a Brita. I hope you know what a Brita is.
That's right. Cut down on your water bottle usage.
Clean that water. College Station water is gross. Anyways, here's some green multi-surface disinfectant. Some good win.
The 7th generation.
It is.
Yes. You should be cleaning your dorm if you didn't know that.
And that uses no harsh chemicals, so all of the material that's in that particular spray are things that are found organically in the earth, not anything that's been manufactured.
This is another Brita.
Yep.
And then light bulbs. There.
Which they are the CFL, so that shows we're behind the times on some of those pieces, but LEDs are your best bet.
Yeah, so like these are the prizes. So, you know, typically I think if you were to like say like, hey dorm, I'm giving an EcoRep presentation and there's gonna be some fat sick prizes, come get them, you know, that might get you some better attendance. These are really nice prizes. I gave this in my dorm one time and I think only enough people showed up to claim all the prizes, so I was kind of sad, but you know, it's okay, my roommate got the rug.
And the reusable bag as well is one of the things that we have for that space.
We give this away as well.
Yep.
Real
Cool.
like it, it's cute, it's totally chic and hip.
Awesome, thanks y'all.
Thanks. Okay.